The Puppeteer's Game by Reuben White. The wind whistled through the pines, carrying with it the scent of impending rain. Adam's heart pounded as he dashed through the dense forest, his breath ragged and labored. Every step was a risk, every rustle of leaves a potential alarm. He was a convict on the run, pursued by shadows of his past, and hunted by the relentless hand of justice. Adam, a man with a past stained by the mistakes of his youth, had been a prisoner of his own making. But on this stormy night, he dared to defy the chains that bound him, to break free from the iron grip of confinement. With a desperate leap, he hurtled over fallen logs and treacherous terrain, his senses sharpened by the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The remote mountains offered sanctuary, a haven of solitude where Adam could vanish into obscurity. With each passing moment, he shed his old identity like a serpent shedding its skin, leaving behind the echoes of his former self. But little did he know, fate had already woven the threads of his destiny, and the stage was set for a game unlike any he had ever known. In the heart of the wilderness, Adam stumbled upon a secluded cabin nestled among the towering trees. It was a refuge shrouded in secrecy, its windows dark and its doors locked tight against the outside world. Yet within its walls dwelled a woman whose words held the power to shape reality itself. Laura Landers, a name whispered in hushed tones among literary circles, was a mystery unto herself. Her pen dripped with the ink of intrigue, her stories weaving webs of suspense that ensnared the minds of readers far and wide. But behind the facade of fame lay a truth known only to those who dared to delve deeper. As Adam stepped into the dimly lit cabin, his eyes met the piercing gaze of the woman who awaited him. Laura Landers, with her steely resolve and enigmatic smile, was a riddle wrapped in a mystery, a puzzle waiting to be solved. But Adam, with his hardened heart and fractured soul, was ill-prepared for the game that lay ahead. Their encounter was a collision of fate and circumstance, a dance of deception played out on the stage of destiny. Adam saw in Laura a means to an end, a pawn in the game of survival he had been forced to play. But little did he know, she held the key to his salvation, and the power to unravel the threads of his existence. The days turned to weeks, and the weeks to months, as Adam and Laura embarked on a perilous journey of discovery. With each passing moment, the lines between reality and fiction blurred, as they navigated the treacherous waters of trust and betrayal. For Adam, the truth was a bitter pill to swallow, a revelation that shook the very foundations of his world. As the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, so too did the shadows of doubt and uncertainty. Adam's grip on reality slipped like sand through his fingers, as he grappled with the realization that he was but a pawn in a game he could not hope to understand. For Laura, the stakes were higher than ever, as she faced a choice that would shape the destiny of them both. In the heart of the wilderness, amidst the whispering pines and the howling winds, Adam and Laura stood at the crossroads of fate. Their destinies intertwined, their fates entwined, they were bound by the invisible threads of a story that had yet to be written. But as the final chapter drew near, they would discover that the greatest mystery of all was the one that lay within themselves. In the end, it was not the hand of fate that held the strings, nor the power of words that shaped their destiny. It was the choices they made, the paths they chose to follow, that would ultimately set them free. For in the game of life and death, there are no winners or losers, only survivors who dare to defy the puppeteer's hand and carve their path in the wilderness of the unknown. As the days stretched into nights and the nights melted into days, Adam found himself ensnared in a web of uncertainty woven by Laura's cunning words. The cabin, once a sanctuary from the world outside, had become a prison of his own making, its walls closing in around him with every passing moment. In the dim light of the cabin's interior, Adam sat alone at the worn wooden table, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames of the hearth. The fire cast dancing shadows across the room, illuminating the myriad thoughts that churned within his troubled mind. He had come seeking refuge, but in Laura's presence, he had found only more questions than answers. As if sensing his inner turmoil, Laura emerged from the shadows, her presence like a specter haunting the confines of the cabin. Her eyes, sharp as daggers, bore into his soul, piercing through the layers of deception that veiled his true intentions. "You cannot escape the truth, Adam," she spoke, her voice a whisper on the wind. "No matter how far you run, no matter how deep you hide, it will always find you." Adam's jaw tightened, his hands clenching into fists at his sides. He had come too far to turn back now, too deep into the rabbit hole to abandon his quest for freedom. But with every passing moment, the walls of the cabin seemed to close in around him, suffocating him with the weight of his own secrets. "What do you want from me, Laura?" he demanded, his voice raw with emotion. "Why have you brought me here, if not to play your twisted games?" Laura's lips curled into a sardonic smile, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of amusement and disdain. "You mistake me for a puppeteer, Adam," she replied. "But in truth, I am merely a storyteller, weaving tales of love and loss, of triumph and tragedy. Your fate lies not in my hands, but in the choices you make." The words hung in the air like a veil of mist, obscuring the truth that lay just beyond Adam's grasp. He had sought refuge in the wilderness, but in Laura's presence, he had found only more questions than answers. And as the storm clouds gathered on the horizon, he knew that the time had come to confront the demons that haunted him, to face the truth that lay buried beneath the surface of his fractured existence. With a resolve born of desperation, Adam rose from the table, his gaze fixed on the door that stood between him and the unknown. The path ahead was fraught with peril, its twists and turns shrouded in darkness, but he would not falter in the face of adversity. For in the heart of the wilderness, amidst the whispering pines and the howling winds, he would discover the strength to defy the puppeteer's hand and carve his own path in the wilderness of the unknown. As he stepped out into the night, the rain fell like tears from the heavens, washing away the sins of the past and heralding a new beginning. For Adam, the journey had only just begun, but with each step forward, he would embrace the uncertainty that lay ahead, knowing that in the end, it was not the destination that mattered, but the journey itself. If you are enjoying the Mystery Within channel, feel free to hit the subscribe, follow, or like buttons for future posts and updates.